Since the Halloween.
Yeah, you know, this never works out. This never works out the way I want it to. Let's try it one more time. Okay, great, cool. SoundCloud's great.
Right in the middle is good. I like
Nice
it.
cloud, nice SoundCloud.
Can you start it over from the very middle?
Since the Halloween episode, I've been humming this brand new song about a titty pumpkin. I searched it on iTunes and turned up nothing. They ain't got no songs about the titty pumpkin. The titty pumpkin, the titty pumpkin. We're gonna write the song about the titty pumpkin. Come on, man, now ain't that something? We wrote this song about the titty pumpkin.
Dang, it is such a catchy song.
Man.
Titty pumpkin.
Titty pumpkin. I had somebody tweet me and say, hey, I introduced my mom to the Valleyfolk with the Halloween episode, and she loved it. And she said, who's the titty pumpkin guy? So now
nice,
I'm the
man.
titty pumpkin guy.
Hey, man, you're the titty pumpkin guy. I'm the gazebo guy. Steve is the murderer.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Valleycast, everybody. This is a podcast put on by the Valleyfolk. My name is Elliot Morgan. I'm here today with Joe Beretta and Steve Zaragoza.
Hello,
Lee Newton
hello.
is not in currently. She's prepping for a shoot we're going to do tomorrow, and we're
good
here
one.
at an
It's a
early
big one.
morning lovely Sherman Oaks, California. Lovely morn, and
It's an evening somewhere.
It's an evening somewhere, and we have a candle lit. This is a podcast where we each bring a topic to the table. Somewhere in the middle, we talk about sponsors, and we'll throw questions to you guys, and it's all very fun. If you would like to support the Valleyfolk, you can go to patreon.com/thevalleyfolk, and you can get the podcast early. Our 10 and up or VIP people get this on Mondays, along with the full uncensored video, and then all of our other patrons get it on Tuesday before everybody else.
And speaking of other patrons, I'd like to shout out to Nick
Oh,
Perry
here we
and
go. Nick Perry,
lettersacrosstime.com.
lettersacrosstime.com.
He's one of our 100-tier guys, and one of our 100-tier perks is that you can shout out one of your personal projects on the podcast here. So we're going to shout out lettersacrosstime.com. Check it out. What you do is for $25, you get letters in the mail, up to 6 letters in the mail from a fictional person in history corresponding with you. It's really cool. You can get Tesla. You can get other people's throughout history. He's got a horror section where you could get stories like Angela, the Keystone Curse, and Obsessed, the Other Side. It's really cool, and it's always dope
Very
to
creative.
get actual things in the mail.
Yep, super
and they're
fun.
handwritten, which is also super dope.
In blood,
Yeah.
if it's horror,
Mhm.
I assume. I can only hope.
So go check it out. It's lettersacrosstime.com.
Guys, if you're a patron, you found this out on Saturday and you got access to a discounted ticket, but we have our second live show ever and our first annual holiday show coming up on December 16th. That's a Sunday in Brooklyn, New York. We're going to be at the Bell House. If you would like to get tickets, they are available. It will sell out. It's $25 in advance or $30 at the door. It includes a meet and greet. It includes a sketch and stand-up and hanging out afterward, potentially doing a little karaoke and whatnot. So come by, come hang out, get in the Christmas season. It's going to be in Brooklyn, Sunday, December 16th at 7 p.m.
And if you're on the fence about joining us over at Patreon, maybe now's the time if you're down with live shows, because you could go spend a little bit of cash, become a patron, and get a discount for this live show.
20% discount, which our patrons already know about, and they're already purchasing tickets. It's all very fun, so feel free to join. Guys, what are we talking about?
Well, I'd like to give a shout out really quick to the man who wrote the song we played at the beginning of the episode. I know it's not technically a Valleycast song, even though we like to play Valleycast intro songs that you guys make. And, we would like more of those, by the way, for those of you that are musically inclined. And for those of you that aren't musically inclined, for God's sakes, get a goddamn microphone and some spoons and sing some. You don't even have to sing, just do some spoken word.
That's the thing about instruments. Anything can be one.
Say the word Valleycast over and over and over again for 30 seconds. We'll fucking play it. I guarantee it.
I guarantee it. We have no standards. We have no quality control.
not at all.
We decide right before it's perfect.
We jump right into the Reddit. Honestly, the way we do it is I will jump into the Reddit the second before we start recording. And I will look for anything that looks like made an intro for the Valleycast.
And press play.
And I hit play.
I had a guy come up to me at some live show and mention that he had submitted one of the songs.
Yeah, I heard someone say that too, actually.
Yeah, and he kind of was saying it like, if you get a chance to play. And I'm like, I have no idea how any of that. That's not
I
even
talked to someone who
remotely
said
in my wheelhouse.
we played it.
Oh, okay.
So,
Yeah.
but you talked to someone who said he submitted one, but he didn't hear it?
Yeah, or he submitted another one or something like that. Yeah, there was something
Don't
where...
submit to.
There
Fuck
was,
off.
Basically, I was being asked about the process, and I just remember being like, there's no process.
There's no process.
Yeah, Steve just indicated that there is no filter. However, I will say there is one filter. There's one thing that'll get out some nastiness, and if you make a 3-minute song, it's not getting played.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately. I mean, unless I'm
Anything
feeling
over a
particularly
minute.
kind
Yeah.
of trolly, and I'll play a 3-minute song
Yeah.
just to see how the
Keep,
others
like
react.
Steve's not lying. Keep it to 30 seconds, because that's
Anyway.
that's choice.
But anyway,
Yeah.
that person's name is Aaron Samuel.
Yes. Sorry. I
Who
keep cutting
created
off.
the Titty Pumpkin song.
Thank you, Aaron.
It's okay. Aaron was probably waiting with bated breath for us to mention that he created that song.
We
Super-
keep deviating every time.
Super good song. Good job, man.
Great
That
song.
was
He
fun.
says
Really
that
good.
he loved the Titty Pumpkin song so much that he and his friend made it real. And for those of you who have no idea what the fuck the Titty Pumpkin song is, first of all, why? And second of all, it is a song featured in the latest episode of your show.
Our Halloween extravaganza, Spooktacular Boo Boo.
Yeah, which is a great episode. And by the way, the Pupui through line runner that
The Curse of the Papui.
the Curse of the Pupui short that we created, I think should become a Halloween classic, and maybe we should just submit it as a short film and just put it out there as like you can watch it on its own.
Get Red or Buffy Festival.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking Sundance. I'm thinking
Yeah.
I'm thinking Slam
Yes.
Dance.
Slam Dance.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, man. It's I think debatably our best episode.
No, it's great. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun, and the bloopers are real good too.
Did a little bit of producing in that episode. We produced it.
It was very
Grew
nice.
up a
Yep.
little bit. Put on our big boy pants.
And the bloopers were the hardest I've laughed.
Yep.
I was telling stories
Yeah.
about how hard I was laughing.
We had a great time on that day. On that day, shooting that.
I got a story, guys. You ready?
Yes.
You know, sometimes I have stories on this podcast. Hey, I have a question.
I've never heard you tell a story ever.
What is a
Yeah.
story?
Here's my question. Does it seem to you guys, and I mean this genuinely, because I don't know, I could go either way. Does it seem like sometimes when you think about me, your buddy, Elliot, Big E, that weird things happen to me? Does it seem like me, is it just in my own head, or do you guys ever get that?
I don't. I
Impression.
do. If I'm being honest with you, I never sit and think weird things happen to Elliot. The universe is against him, and
No, not against, but yeah. totally.
or in cahoots to make weird things happen. When I think of my Elliot and his story, I think, man, Elliot brings a lot on himself.
I think anytime
okay.
I think of weird things happen to Elliot, I think about a deflection of victim mentality.
A deflection of victim mentality, like me staying away from victim mentality?
No, I
So
think
I'm-
you're deflecting a victim mentality.
I'm trying to wrap my head around what you just said.
Well, I'm not even thinking in terms of bad things. I'm thinking so I
Just
don't-
weird things.
Just weird things, like remarkable things, like weird, odd.
I think that this is a recent thing. Like in my entire friendship with you, Elliot, I couldn't say that many strange things happened to you really before the catfish thing. Like the catfish thing might be like the craziest thing that's happened to you in our friendship.
Yeah, the having been catfish.
To be fair, a lot of that is because Elliot's opened himself up to a lot more of living in the last few years.
Yeah, so there's that.
Yeah.
So here's just a fun, weird thing that happened. This is, and I think too, what this is it seems like these weird things happen to anybody who goes through a series of weird things, but it's a very it's obviously there's an element of like, can't see the forest for the trees. I think if stuff were to happen, it's much easier from a first person perspective to sort of feel the ramifications of weird things and weird coincidences occurring. But in the realm of coincidences, try this one on. This is a fun one.
All
Okay.
right.
So I go to Big Bear over the weekend, and
Lovely, beautiful place.
yeah, and I also I had gone to Big Bear. I rented a cabin. The original plan was for somebody to be in the cabin with me, but they died in a tragic like fire or whatever. And so I didn't tell you guys about it. But
Rest in peace, whoever
That doesn't
that
sound
was.
like a very interesting story.
no,
anyways.
it's not. It's that part's not interesting.
People
So-
die all the time.
People die all the time. It's part of it, part of life. So anyway, this person dies, and not really, but I go to Big Bear. I'm having a great time, and on the way, like I was listening to music, and I was playing this guy named Rickey Montgomery to you guys last week. I was like, oh, this guy's like he's super catchy.
You're driving by yourself?
Yeah, I'm driving by
Oh,
myself.
that's a 3-hour alone time. Good.
3 hour load time. And so having a great
Did you
time.
listen to any
It was
podcasts
beautiful.
or anything?
I did
or-
listen to some podcasts. Yeah, I listened to the Henry Winkler episode
Whoa.
of You Made It Weird.
I
with
bet you
Pete
that was
Holmes.
enjoyable.
Henry Winkler is a national
He's a
treasure.
delight.
He's an
Yeah.
absolute delight. Yeah. Listen to this beautiful drive up. I'm hanging out with my friends. They're all like married and they have kids, and so there's all these like children running around. And then I'm in this cabin and I'm by myself. And I'm a little lonely, but I'm having a great time and it's beautiful. We go on a hike Saturday. It's this wonderful experience, and there's like kids everywhere, and I'm getting to like reconnect with all these like just these super cute kids. And in my mind, I'm just like, there's a little bit of like just sadness the entire
There's
time.
children there?
Yeah, a lot
Okay,
of children.
got it,
Yeah,
got it.
a lot of friends and children. And so we do this hike or whatever. The next morning, I wake up. I go to bed early, and because I'm like getting up early and like experiencing the woods or whatever. And so I get up and I'm laying in bed and I start playing music again, and I start playing this playlist that I made on Spotify. And it had this song on this Rickey Montgomery song. I was like, oh, this guy's really good. I was like, I'm gonna look him up and see what he's doing. So I looked him up. I'd already tweeted at him, and I was like, hey, I like your stuff or whatever. And he was like, oh, thanks or whatever. And so then I start looking his stuff up, and he gave up music. He like 2 weeks ago, like a week after before.
This
I
is that young guy that you
Yeah.
showed us. Okay.
yeah, super catchy.
It's like pop, really poppy music.
Yeah, really pop music. And I love pop music, especially it's like kind of sad. And so, especially during this time. So anyway, I'm like, oh, this guy's like, I just discovered him. I love what he's doing. He's clearly like, didn't blow up. He was very unknown. And all of a sudden I'm seeing that he kind of quit. And it got in my head, and I was thinking about like quitting and what and also just like moving out of the city and then like settling
Making
down.
that bold decision to stop.
Yeah, to stop, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was interesting because I used to view artists who stopped doing art as sort of like, that's a bummer. And it was like a sad thing. And now I'm like, every time, like, good for you. And so, like, you got out. Like, this will destroy your soul if you're not careful. So anyway, this is all happening, and I'm thinking about all this stuff. And then, like, I go to the Village. It's the end of the weekend. And the Village is like this area in Big Bear that's like super cute and beautiful.
That's where the restaurants and like the breweries and stuff are. It's really nice.
Have you been? So you've been there?
Yeah,
It's
I
I've
love
never
it.
been.
magical.
We should all go for winter, get a cabin together, and let's just go hang.
Yeah, that sounds
Sure.
amazing.
Why not?
I got a hookup. But yeah, it's this beautiful town, and the whole time I'm like, why am I sad? Like, I'm having such a good time. And it occurred to me that I want a girlfriend, and I want someone to like share all this stuff with, which I don't have. And so I'm texting my friend who's meeting up with like his wife and his baby, and I'm like, hey man, I'm just kind of moping around. I'm feeling a little sorry for myself. I was like, so I'm just grabbing a beer and I'll hang out in a little bit. He breaks away. We start trying to find coffee. So we stop at this place that we assume has coffee, and then all of a sudden we switch to Bloody Marys. Whatever, what can you do? And so we're at this outdoor bar that's like kind of a crappy restaurant, and it's not great. And we order Bloody Marys or whatever. And I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I go to the bathroom. I urinate. I exit the bathroom, and who is sitting directly behind me?
There's no way it's this guy.
It's
this artist.
Ricky. It's Ricky.
Oh man, so you followed him there?
I followed him there.
Yeah.
You knew he was going to be in
You
Big Bear
followed
that
him to Big
weekend.
Bear.
Huge fan of this guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, did you saw him?
Immediate. I walked out of the bathroom. That's Rickey Montgomery. That's the guy. And I opened my
fuck?
Spotify. I was mid his song.
Weird.
What the fuck, man?
Did you like change your Spotify song to like Britney Spears just to see?
Yeah.
Like real quick.
That's really funny.
I'm sorry, you mean Paula Abdul? Fuck Britney.
I'm going through his.
Oh, right.
His
Okay,
playlist
okay.
of the heart,
Okay.
and Britney's like number
It
one.
would be Britney.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mine would be Mama Cass.
That's really funny. That's so fun. Yeah, I should have done that. Yeah.
Huh. Well, let's just
Let's try that. Elvis?
I would have done like Ben Folds. I would have, Elvis. Yeah, that would have been.
see that this is our new movie. It's the secret Spotify playlist that just brings
Yeah.
up whoever.
Oh, is that the
you're playing.
movie? Oh
Yeah.
my, the most expensive movie of all time.
Not worth the punchline after the first
No.
one. So anyway, this guy is there, and I'm like, I sit down after peeing. I'm like, hey man, I'm like, dude, I'm like, this guy that I just was listening to. I was like, he's right behind me, and he was like, you gonna say hi? And I was like, yeah, I think I have to. And so I get up. So I get up and I'm like, hey man, I like your music. He's like, yeah man, you tweeted at me. He's like, Elliot, right? He was like, yeah, I did like a dive on you. I saw the whole catfish thing, and the response I was like, we're all artists or whatever. I was like,
Ricky had some time.
yeah, I was like, dude, I was like,
Well, he's no longer singing.
Yeah.
so-
yeah. And I brought that up. I was like, dude, I just found your music, and like I just realized like you're out. I guess you're done. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, it's just not my thing or whatever. And we chatted for a little bit, and then he introduced me to his friend. His friend is Andrew, who does the editing for Shane's videos. So Shane Dawson fits. So all this, and Andrew. who's been on a date with the person that was not in the cab. And so I was like,
the person who died.
The person who died. And so I was like, dude, we know plenty of mutual people. I was like, it's not worth getting into right now. I was like, but that's so funny. And he knew about the Valleyfolk, and he knew about the stream we did of Shane's, the first episode.
Wow, where we watched Shane's thing. Yeah.
And I was like, cool, guys. Well, this is really weird. Bye. And
wow.
Yeah, and then it was like, they were super cool.
What were they doing there?
They literally had nothing to do. They looked up at us and were like, do you guys have any idea what to do? And both me and my buddy John were
why
like,
were
no,
they there, though?
To get out
to
of
get out of the city. Yeah.
They were just like Weekend in Big Bear?
And we
just
both
like
wound
you guys?
up at a crappy, like, tourist trap restaurant. Yeah. Hours after I had been listening to the guy's music.
Wow, that's so fucking weird.
Yeah.
You
Crazy.
manifested that.
There's some it's weird stuff, man. It's just, there is a certain level of weird stuff that if it didn't happen so frequently at this point, I would feel more kooky about.
Oh, you're
saying
like,
it.
I feel like you're a little bit more connected to your simulation theory now.
Simulation or something. I think I'm just not as much
Matrix.
of a cynic. I think I've burst from the.
Oh,
that's good. That's positive.
That's a nice thing.
Yeah.
You feel like, so wait, this wasn't an example of the simulation thing?
Not simulation, but definitely something.
Some sort of serendipitous.
Yeah, some kind of weird. There's just weird stuff.
You probably
that happens.
manifested it.
There's that theory
with energy.
Yeah, there's the theory that there's some kind, and it's just strange. Yeah,
Can you manifest me up a bagel right now?
Yeah.
Can you manifest me $200?
And these things.
I have a bill to pay.
I have a bill to pay. Excuse me, Elliot. I have a bill to pay.
It would be great if that bill just disappeared.
Excuse me, sir. Can you use your
tax-free.
superpowers for me?
But anyway, yeah, so that was really weird. And it was one of those things of like, I'm sad.
That's so weird.
The only reason I'm at this restaurant is because I'm moping around because of a girl. And then I go and I drink and I turn around. There's a guy who I have a connection with. And then another guy who I was just listening to his music. And I'm like with my friend and I'm like, thanks for having me on this very strange trip where I'm also like, and it was beautiful. It was so fun.
Did that bring you out of the mopes? Did you turn around just a little bit? Like at least that interesting story get you out of your mind, and did you get to enjoy the last day a little bit more?
I did enjoy it the entire time, but there was definitely just a level of
I get it. I get it.
You can only enjoy it so much before it's like, and I'm really good at enjoying things by myself. Like I have a great time with me, but also it does after a while. It's like, it's like you and Alana, which is a beautiful thing, and then I see that and I'm like, oh man, but then it doesn't,
Yeah.
everything in its own time. But then, that makes everything, even at its best, not be as cool as it could be if there's
Sure.
Any snow
Everybody
on those
wants
peaks?
that. Everybody wants that. They're looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
Any snow on those peaks?
No, we went. We did do a little hiking, and there was snow on the peaks. Yeah,
baby. Snow-capped peaks.
And let me tell you something. It's so freaking beautiful out there.
Good crisp air in the morning.
That crisp air. What about those stars at night?
The stars at night, Steve.
Yeah, man.
I looked at the stars, and
It's
one
gorgeous.
point, got a little high. Looked up at the stars. I was like, oh, this is just magical.
Yeah, man.
And then I ate a sloppy Joe.
Ricky's going to make a comeback to music with a hit single called Snow-Capped Peaks.
The Stars at Night.
This is gonna be called "Stop Following Me."
Stop following me, Elliot Morgan.
And we
You're
find out that
scaring
he
me.
actually stole Pumpkin Titty, and it's topping the charts.
On the album called Stalker.
Imagine how that guy being like, "I'm quitting music, I'm done," and then this nerd out of nowhere is like, "Hey, just found your music. Looking forward to seeing you at Big Bear."
you do.
Do you guys think that Stars were the TV of the early days? Because it was on every night and there was nothing else to do.
And it was the same station.
And it was the same station.
Well,
You guys coming out to see the stars again? There's nothing else to do.
I love this episode.
We could build another hut. We could do that fire thing again.
A plot twist as a shooting star.
Oh shit! Did you guys see? Did not see that coming. It's like a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Dude, did you see the shooting star? All right, I'm gonna get into a little something here for you guys.
Guys, we're going to deck you out today. Stay tuned. Listen to this.
Guys,
Stay tuned. Listen to this right now.
This episode of the Valleycast is brought to you by MeUndies. MeUndies are just the world's most comfortable underwear. And they also have comfortable lounge pants and tees.
That's my jam.
Baby.
I wore some lounge pants from MeUndies in the woods.
Cover your body.
Made my experience even better.
I have not. I've not gotten a pair. I asked for a pair and I have not gotten them. So
You will, baby.
guys, fall is finally here. Well, it's more like, aren't we entering winter? Is this fall? We're currently
We're on
in
the
fall.
cusp. We're on the cusp of winter, but we're still in fall.
We're in fall.
It's not winter till like December,
Yeah,
right?
we're knee deep.
I
in
guess
fall.
that's true. We are in fall. So we're going to want some cozy essentials, if you know what I mean. Some CEs. The fall offerings from MeUndies are as follows. How about those lounge pants we were just talking about? Well, they're just made from the same micromodal fabric as their undies. So if you ever worn their undies, guess what? Stretch them out. Get comfy, because that's the lounge pants. They're made of that same fabric and they feel great.
Ooh.
You'll be in fall heaven when you cover your entire bottom half with fabric that's 3 times softer than cotton. MeUndies also loves celebrating the fall season with fun Halloween prints. Check out their latest jack-o'-lanterns print in undies, socks, and bralettes.
More like Junko Lantern.
We don't care that you're hearing this on October 31st. You're still going to need them for next year. Order them now.
Yeah, or like if you're like me and you celebrate Halloween through November.
Actually, that's why it's called All Hallows Eve.
That's right, because it's
on the cusp of 1 month of Halloween celebration.
The only Eve I care about is Christmas Eve.
Right.
So All Hallows Eve, it extends
All the
until
way till
Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Oops, I think I spit some at you,
Yeah, you
Joe.
did, baby.
There
It's
it is.
okay.
I found it. I'll put it back in my mouth or I'll throw it on the ground. You choose.
Mouth.
I'm actually wearing the Halloween jack-o'-lantern print underwear right now, and I absolutely love them. And guess what? I wore them to my Rocky Horror show, and got a lot of compliments when I was changing backstage.
I'm wearing pups.
The puppers.
I'm wearing some puppies. Some puppies. Get a slow zoom on those puppies.
How about a fast zoom on those puppies? How about go lightning fast zooming into those puppies? I want the audience to get scared.
I'm gonna leave these up around my belly button.
Do you want to know the best part about these offerings, guys? These fall offerings? When you join the membership, you can get all of this stuff. The lounge pants, the tees, and undies. Everything MeUndies makes for less than anyone else at special member pricing. And it's just one of the many perks of joining the membership.
Do it.
We've already talked about why MeUndies is the best underwear and how we all love it. We all wear it. We all think it's great. So let's just get straight to the point here, guys. MeUndies has a great offer for our listeners. For any first-time purchasers. When you purchase any MeUndies, you get 15% off and free shipping.
15% and free shipping.
It's a no-brainer, guys. Get your 15% off a pair of the most comfortable undies you'll ever put on. You know where you got to go to get it?
Where do you go?
How about MeUndies.com/Valley?
That's MeUndies.com.
And guess what you get when you go there? 15% off your first pair, free shipping, and 100% satisfaction guarantee. Utilize it.
We will.
I dare you to not like this underwear.
Ooh.
Because guess what? If you don't, you get that 100% satisfaction guarantee, God damn it.
All right.
That's MeUndies.com/Valley, guys. MeUndies.com/Valley.
Ooh, but it doesn't stop there. Keep that music going. We're going to deck out your whole body. Elliot, what you got, baby?
Well, I was going to tell you guys about this new service that I've fallen in love with. My box is currently on its way. Might be waiting for me when I get home. I'm talking about Stitch Fix, guys. It's an online personal styling service that finds and delivers clothes directly to you that fit your body, your budget, and your lifestyle. We've talked about Stitch Fix before. I'm going to tell you about them again. I'm wearing their jeans right now. Incredibly comfortable. All you got to do is go to Stitch Fix. Thank you, Joe. All you got to do is go to stitchfix.com/Valley. Let them know what your sizes are. Always good to know. Go to a tailor if you don't know. I highly recommend that just as a life thing. It helps more than you realize. Tell them what kind of style you like. If you don't know, they'll figure it out for you, but you can give them kind of, clues and they'll fill in the blanks for you. And tell them how much you want to spend on each item. That way they're not going crazy and giving you stuff that you can't afford, because nobody wants that. You'll be paired with your very own personal stylist who will handpick items and send them to your door. And then you can try them on, look at yourself in the mirror, feel good about yourself for a second, pay only for what you love, and then you return the rest. Shipping, exchanges, and returns are always free. And if you know what they also are? Easy. There's a couple things things that didn't fit me right. I put them in a bag, put them in a post office. They shipped it right to. Perfect. Wonderful time. There's no subscription required. You can sign up to receive scheduled shipments or get your fix whenever you want. And then Stitch Fix styling fee is only $20, and that is applied toward anything you keep from your shipment. So in the long run, you really don't pay for it at all. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to get started now at stitchfix.com/Valley, and you'll get an extra 25% off when you keep all the items in your box. That's a huge, huge savings. That's stitchfix.com/Valley to get started today. That's stitchfix.com/Valley.
Guys, you got your underwear, you got your clothes covering your torso and your legs, and possibly some shoes, maybe a hat from Stitch Fix. This episode's also brought to you by Vincero. Luxury watches, handcrafted, fair prices. Check out that baby on my wrist right now. Our mission is to create compelling luxury timepieces with impeccable craftsmanship to inspire as many people as possible to elevate their game and ultimately live their legacy. The goal is to inspire as many people as possible. They learn that luxury is a process. It's not about specs, it's not about price, and it's not a marketing term to be thrown around. It's about attention to detail, a step-by-step process to craft every product. It's a process that separates us from the competition. It's a belief that you deserve the best. One more. Vincero literally means, I will win. It's also why every one of their designs are rooted in the values of bold, daring, and pioneering. It's their hope that each piece instills a sense of rebellious confidence in the wearer. Keep things classy, but never be afraid to challenge convention. It's time to live your legacy.
Live your legacy.
And we will be right by your side. It's really good. I actually love it. It's I don't wear watches, but I do wear these because it's very classy and it makes me look good. And it totally complements my broken wrist on the other side.
You're perfectly balanced. With
it's time to balance.
To those of you who have messaged us or tweeted us photos of your Vincero watches, it's very nice of you, and it's fun to see them. Thank you for doing that. It helps us.
So if you'd like to be getting some Vincero on your wrist, go to vincerowatches.com/Valleycast October and enter the promo code Valleycast to get 15% off of your entire order. That's one more time. That's vincerowatches.com/Valleycast October and enter the promo code Valleycast to get 15% off of your entire order. You're welcome, your bodies. Elliot and I on Thursday night went and partook in the Rocky Horror Hipster show, which starred Steve Zaragoza.
Yeah, thanks, man.
And it was such a delight. I'm still on a high from it. Like, specifically with you, watching you as a friend and lover, I sat there and I was just filled with dorky pride. Like, I kept catching myself just like I had my arms crossed in my mesh shirt with my nipples hanging out because you gave me that shirt to wear. Mm-hmm. And I just had this dumb look of like, there's my Steve and he's killing it and the audience loves him. And that filled me with pride. And then I was also filled with just like elation of watching a really good show that I'd never seen before, which was awesome because it was my first Rocky Horror. It was your first Rocky Horror as well.
First experience with the franchise.
So we got the V on our forehead and everything.
The Virgin, yeah.
And like I saw the movie way back in the day. I obviously didn't remember much of it.
Got your girl Susan Sarandon in it.
Yes, it does. And the live show, and Steve, you'll be able to correct me if I'm wrong on the other versions of this live show for Rocky Horror, was just so energetic and intimate and filled with love, and I'm just overjoyed with it. And the music has been stuck in my head.
It's so good.
I taught my son the time warp dance, so now we do that together, and it's really fun. I want to be in the show someday. I wanted to go to your other two performances. It's tragic that there's only 3 of them.
I know, it's crazy.
But I loved it, and so many cool things happened that night, and I want to get your thoughts on being in the show. Elliot, I want to hear about what you said or what you saw and how you felt. Kait, who's here, was also a virgin at the show.
We don't need to talk about what Kait contributed to this.
And man, she had an embarrassing moment, which we'll get into.
Yeah,
in a
she
second.
totally did.
But she killed it. She killed it. But I also was like feeling a lot of really, really deep empathy for her in that moment.
I wasn't. I was like, let's see how she handles this.
Yeah, I felt so bad.
Well, I did feel kind of bad. I felt like me, Joe, and Steve should have all just left the building.
Yeah, I mean, well, I couldn't, so I was.
So basically,
I wouldn't.
I was stuck.
The gist of it is, does every live version of that show start with something like that? Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's basically
Before
like
we talk about that, Kait, are you okay if we talk about what happened? Okay.
In Rocky,
It's on social media.
Oh, it is? Okay.
In Rocky Horror tradition, if you are a quote-unquote virgin, if it's your first time seeing the show, they bring you up on stage to do like random things. It's not always what they did, but it is random. Like they kind of embarrass you. They take you up there to embarrass you or to kind of like get you out of your shell a little bit and prepare you for the debauchery to follow.
It's the precursor to a pretty out there show.
It's a risque show. Yeah, it really is. If you haven't seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show, do yourself a favor and at least see that movie because it's a cult classic.
And Tim Curry's next level.
Tim Curry's just, I mean, honestly, incomparable. He's just this like star. I don't know. He shines bright like a diamond. And if you want to see Tim Curry like killing it, just check that out. Anyway, but yeah, so they do this thing where before the show starts, they like to prepare people for what's to follow. And so in our particular version of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, they were inviting people on stage who were virgins. So basically before the show starts, they send some of the phantoms, which are the backup dancer girls, backup singer girls. They send the phantoms out into the crowd to put V's on people's foreheads with makeup.
Which, side note, because society is a little different now, there was a lot of indications of like, this is how it used to be, but we have to do it this way now because of consent and stuff like that.
Yeah, it used to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, even it started even with that moment, and I don't know if you knew or not, but they would come out and instead of being like, is this your first time? Yes. And then they would just put a V on your head. They went, is this your first time? And you go, yes. And they go, do I have consent to put
touch
a V
you
on your head?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a very progressive show, despite the fact that the show itself is not very progressive. there's basically like full rape happening in the movie, in the story, in the script, in the play, and we addressed that in our version too, which was really funny. But super woke version of the show. So I didn't know that they were asking consent for that, but it makes total sense.
I thought it was very interesting.
Maggie Levin directed this particular production of the Rocky Horror Picture Show titled the Rocky Horror Hipster Show, and she just like assembled this like beautiful, wonderful cast of people that like, I know everyone says like, oh, I love everyone on the cast and everyone's great. Like literally everyone is a fucking treat. Everyone, it just, we became this family. I joined this production that had been going on for 4 years. And I was supposed to join it way back in the day in the Frankenstein MD days when I worked with Anna on Frankenstein MD. And so Anna Laurie has played the role of Columbia every year. So they skipped last year because they said 2 years ago they said they weren't going to do it anymore. And they skipped last year. And then this year they were like, no, we loved it so much and it sucked. And everybody hated that we skipped last year. So anyway, their Eddie dropped out this year. And so they asked me to be in it. And I just like...
Fortuitous.
I know, I mean, it was...
It's like your role. It was made for you. Well, it was made for Meatloaf, but then you got to take it.
Yeah. And I even had so many people after each performance come up to me and go like, you're like an updated Meatloaf. You're like Meatloaf 2.0. And I was like, holy shit,
God,
that's insane.
Best compliment ever.
Absolutely. I didn't know what to do with that information. And it was hard to handle because I was like, man, Meatloaf is a goddamn rock god. But
that's not unearned.
Well, thank you, Elliot. I appreciate that. But yeah, I mean, I was welcomed into this group of people that were all very close and it's a very tight-knit family group. And the first rehearsal ever, everyone was like reminiscing and throwing out old like jokes and things like that. And I was like, oh God, this is going to suck for me for a little bit. But they just welcomed me right in and it was wonderful. And luckily I wasn't the only newcomer. The guy that played Brad Majors, Brad.
He was good. Yeah, Brad. They were all good. There was not a weak link in the show.
Yeah, everyone. So that's the thing. It's like, and then even like the first rehearsal or the first read through of the script, everyone was singing. It was kind of uncomfortable because it's like you go to sit down to read the script for the first time with everybody and it's like we're doing full singing for everything and it's like, okay, well, here we go. I'm just gonna sing in front of all these people I've never met in my life.
But you kill those moments.
Well, and I felt more nervous. I felt very nervous before, and then like as soon as these incredible singers start singing, I was like, oh shit, these are like professional fucking
they could belt
performers.
Yeah.
Helen Highfield, who played Janet, is just this like incredible angel girl that just has this voice of a goddess essentially, and it never cracked, and it was just perfect. Every time we were rehearsing, it was just like perfect pitch, perfect tone, perfect. Like, it was just everything. She's just this angel. But anyway, everybody's just fantastic. But holy shit, man. It was like 3 weeks of rehearsal and then 3 nights of performance, and it was just like the most high energy, amazing, fun thing I've been a part of in such a long time. Like, I can't describe it. I want more. Like they were saying,
you got infected,
dude. Everyone was saying by the third night too, and it's funny because like by the third night, Brad, the guy who played Brad, lost his voice like almost completely. And so he was like modulating the songs, and it still sounded really good, but by the end of the show he was like, ah! and Jeff, who played Rocky, was like, who was also an incredible man and just the sweetest, kindest person you'll ever meet in your life. His voice was almost gone too, and so everybody was just like, they were powering through. So I was like, if we did another weekend of this, I don't think we could.
That's what understudies are for.
Exactly.
Rewind back to the start of the show. They bring the virgins on stage.
Oh,
and,
yeah. So
Kait, our editor shooter, she's there supporting Steve, and she gets brought up on stage.
Well, actually, let's hang on. Let's actually step even further back. I think what actually happened is that my girlfriend Alana was there too.
Yeah.
And she was also a virgin and got a V on her forehead. And because Alana was chosen randomly, I think, unless everybody knew it was her. Everyone knew it was her, and they were like, well, no, what about when they chose her, though?
They asked for people who were virgins, and Alana emphatically put her hand up. And
that's what I'm saying.
And then grabbed Kate's hand and said, you're coming with me.
But what I'm saying is like, when she raised her hand, like, she must not have been the only person that was raising her hand.
She walked to the stage
and
got in front of
Oh, she wanted to do it.
Not as many people were raising their hand as you might expect.
Okay, so here's the thing.
So Kait rushed the stage, basically.
So Alana is like this beautiful ray of sunshine, and she's this positive, like energetic pixie love woman, and she is down for fucking anything. And so her perception of this virgin sacrifice or whatever it was before the show was that she was going to do something kind of fun, something kind of sexy, something along the lines of the show, but she had no idea what they were actually going to make her do.
Yeah.
And I think that once she found out, she decided that there was no way in hell she was going to do it alone. So she grabbed Kait.
Yep.
And just dragged her onto the stage.
Let's go ahead and say what Kait did. We've been beating her on the
All right, so here's what the thing is. Basically, what they do is they have a orgasm sound competition.
Yeah.
And they bring up like 4 people on stage. It was an orgasmathon. Orgasmatician, yeah. And it's basically like everyone takes a turn doing their best orgasm impression. And then the best one wins a sex toy, essentially, which was a big...
This happened to be like a DJ dildo.
Yeah, which was essentially like just this giant sparkly dildo. And so a bunch of people went up before and performed before them, and then it comes time for Alana to do it. And from what I understand from what Kait said, Alana basically forced you to join her. No. Okay, so you were okay. Yeah, come over here. Just come over here and tell us what happened. Here, you can use my mic. Step over.
I was gonna say.
Oh, God.
So we went up there, and then when Alana found out what was going to happen, she started shaking, like really bad. And she's like,
no.
Man. I was like, you did this, you brought us up here. We're like,
she started
we're just like cursing. No.
Yeah.
Which was not the point of the game.
We were basically just cursing back and
immediately
forth.
lost.
And then she grabs me and goes, do you want to do it together? And I was like, yeah, we can do it together. She goes, okay. I'm going to go up and down on you. And she goes, then she grabbed me. She goes, do I have your consent?
So I have to break up with her now because that's cheating.
That's a little much.
Yeah. I didn't know she was going to.
She didn't ask for
I didn't know
consent.
she was going to rip her shirt off at the end of it, though.
Yeah.
That was a nice touch. But I wanted to do it. It was okay.
Wait, Caitlin. My secondhand embarrassment was for you knowing that you had to do that in front of us.
Yeah, see, I started out strong. I started out strong, and then I saw you in a mesh shirt. while I was yelling, and then I just kind of stopped moving and froze, and she was still going, but you were still standing there in a mesh shirt.
Yeah.
And then I was like, Elliot's over there on the other side. And then I looked in the back and saw Steve holding an iPhone like this, and I was like, okay.
Well, because I was in the backstage getting ready for the show, and then I heard someone in the doorway yell my name, and I was like, why is this happening? And then so I just took my time changing still, and then as soon as I stepped out the backstage doors to look at the stage, I saw you and Alana on stage, and I was like, uh-oh, here we go. And so, of course, I had to pull out my fucking camera.
Yeah, is there a video?
Oh, yes. There is a video.
I might mute it and put it on this. I'm not gonna.
You can just put chicken sounds over it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna put the real audio in
Kait,
it.
you did amazing. I can't imagine what was going through your mind at that moment, but you're a rock star and way to kill it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it really sets the tone for the show, and it gets everybody kind of worked up, and then, again, the whole thing is kind of like that. So it really is like a fun way to kind of get the show going.
You know what I really loved about the whole thing is that they did this show in a really small bar with a small stage and a live band. And when we say small room, small stage, the stage might have been 10 feet wide, 5 feet deep, and then the whole audience was right up on the stage. It was that intimate, and it was hot and it was sweaty and it was loud, but everybody felt like they were part of the show. And the only thing that I felt I missed out on, but it's okay because I feel like you have your original experience with this show, is that there's so much back and forth with this cult classic performance. Like the audience knows when to yell things at the stage and at the narrator and stuff like that, and it's so much fun. And I was getting a kick out of all the stuff, and then you find out that every time they say Brad, you get to say what do you say? Asshole, and at Janet you say slut, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, it's audience participation, and it really is something that's like a tradition in Rocky Horror, like way back in the early performance days, where they just found places to just yell shit out, and then a lot of shit just stuck. They were telling me about one year there was a guy who like knew everything, and then even more stuff that they didn't know, that the cast didn't know, and Maggie didn't know, and Maggie's like this expert on Rocky Horror essentially, and this guy would just like not stop, and it got to the point where it was like disrupting the performance to like a crazy degree, and so someone had to go over to him and just be like, dude, please, can you just like do the ones that are good?
Yeah, there was a dude
Not
at our
every
show.
single
Yeah,
one.
there was a dude at our show doing that, and I was telling Elliot, I was like looking at him, I was getting upset, and I was like, well, this is just his Rocky Horror experience. So I can't get angry at it. This is how he chooses to do it.
I mean, and it is one of those things where it's like you don't really want to go to a show and see your favorite band, and the guy next to you is belting out all the songs while they're also singing the songs and kind of ruining the experience for you. But Rocky Horror is supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be. I mean, you're not supposed to like talk over the actors and destroy the show, but it really is meant for audience participation. Right. In fact, there's even more elements of the show that the audience, we ask the audience not to participate in, and I think now they just know after the 4th year, but people throw rice at Brad and Janet during the when he proposes to her, and then people throw confetti at certain moments.
Not in that room.
Like, no. It's just not. It just doesn't work.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I had a great time. It was a very good pick me up too. It was like a nice, like you can't leave. I, at least in my experience, didn't leave feeling. I left feeling better than having gone.
We left on a high. I remember walking down the street, and Elliot and I were.
No, I would like to speak at some point.
We were. We were essentially skipping down the street together.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was a very beautiful, very horny show. It definitely is a show that makes people horny. And
that and The Sixth Sense.
That's The Sixth Sense. But I loved it. I thought it was great. It was very musical theater. Every single person was incredibly talented. There's something that's very beautiful about a show that's we give Los Angeles a lot of crap and well deserved most of the time, but there's something about that just seemed very uniquely LA in like a good way, that there's just this group of people who will put on a free show for the love of it and then like create this environment, and then everyone is on the same page and everyone is welcome and there's like a really truly like beautiful sense of camaraderie that's really cool that I like a lot. And I never experienced Rocky Horror. I wasn't allowed to watch it, and I definitely get why. But it still was like, it was a cool thing.
Yeah, I see what you're saying with like, because I think we talked about like it was both of our virginal experiences, but we're a little older in life. I kind of wished I saw it earlier. I wish I would have experienced this in like my later high school, early college years. You were saying you probably couldn't have been able to mentally handle it.
Wouldn't have been able to appreciate it. Yeah, would have been very freaked out by it.
It could turn you off right away if you're kind of like not into some of the like more risque themes for sure.
Yeah, even the plot itself is sort of one of what would be defined as like corruption or some kind of like debauchery. Like it's a descent into that world through the lens of...
It's out there, but I will say that if you are somebody that has been curious about this show and you've never went to it, and I put myself in this boat back in the day because you thought it might be a little weird or you didn't fit in or whatever. It was all inclusive. It was super fun. I felt like I experienced something that, like you were saying, I would not have been prepared for back in the day, or at least I thought I wasn't, and I think you will be, because the room is love, and you should go.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, the thing about it is like it is a labor of love, and so as a result, the entire time it's like, oh, this actually feels like a weirdly loving environment to people. Even though I was completely enamored the entire time, like no idea what was going on and trying to take everything in. It was absolutely a sense of love.
And that's the thing. It's like everybody, again, like even like we haven't mentioned the band that plays along with them, and like in a world where like click tracks, or not click tracks, but where like, you know, pre-recorded karaoke tracks are played a lot of the times. This was like a fucking rock and roll band.
Yep.
Bassist, keyboardist, lead guitar, and drummer.
Killing it too.
On that fucking tiny stage, all dressed up also in like the high heels and corsets and shit and bras. And
so is that not normal? Is that not standard to do a
full band?
Yeah,
well, I mean, you definitely want to and hope to, but it's not always possible because it's like, you know, I mean, it's a lot.
I didn't know if that was like part of the lore or something. If that was like
I mean, original ones, yes, but you know, when you do like a high school production or something, or like when you do like a musical, like a local theater version, it's like easier to kind of just do the tracks, I guess, but
not as much fun. The band was
definitely not as much fun.
The energy was so...
Loved it.
Oh yeah, thick. I mean that band is like absolutely incredible. Like again, it's like you're right. It's very LA in the essence, in the at its core, because it's just like these friends just making a show together and doing it well, which is like, and it is one of those things where it's like, yeah, like if you might be listening to this and there's no way we can kind of like really convey what it felt like to be a part of it and to experience it, but I'm telling you, it was just this like, it's this kinetic thing that just is lit. Like if you dragged someone to see that, it would be very hard for me to believe that they wouldn't have a good time.
Yeah. You know how they say like a bit, there's a conversation out there right now that is saying like streaming's killing movie theater experiences, but then there's the other half of that aisle of that debate that's like, no, it's not, because people always want to still congregate and experience something together. That's what it was. It's just this massive group of people that don't know each other witnessing something together and feeding off each other's energy, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and Maggie said something before the final performance to all of us that like really resonated with me, and it was really sweet. She like wrote out this whole thing where she was just like, we're basically providing joy as a service to people at a time where like they need it the most.
It was very apparent there was a sigh of like relief in the room, and as creatures who tend to be introverted and not social, I think there's a objective value to like being surrounded by a bunch of people in a tight room and sweating and like
and you're all like
on some level.
Exactly. And it is that kind of thing where like the entire crowd is just working together, everyone's working together in that room to fuel that energy. And it really is one of those things where it's like it's such an inclusive show, like you were saying, and it's just everybody, it's for everybody, even if you're kind of like a little nervous and shy.
I think the sex and the risque nature of it all is kind of just like the wrapping around a more robust package. Like once you get over like just the outside looking in and you get into the show itself, it's fun, it's crazy, it's a throwback to back in the double feature science shitty movies back in the day. It's like there's so much fun stuff. It's got
like a Frankenstein story, basically. Yeah,
really cool. And then the people, it's the crowds were everyone was so nice. Like there was some people behind me, I think, that were on mushrooms, and they were having the time of their lives. And it was super, super funny to hear them talk. But then anytime they would like lightly graze me, they would be like, "I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "Dude, you're fine. Like it's totally cool."
Our buddy Will Haynes was there, and he was dressed like Will Haynes dresses, and that's a little bit more, button up. And by the end of the show, his shirt was open and his chest was out, and everybody was having a good time.
He should have just taken it completely off like he does.
You know what it made me realize as well is like, I'm a big fan of Hedwig. And
yes.
it made me realize that
so
Hedwig is like a love story to Rocky Horror.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
I took so much inspiration from it, and it's so good. So I walked away a lifelong fan of the production. I'm going to go to it anytime that it's playing from here on out. I really want to go to a midnight showing of the movie and see what that experience is like.
I want to go to other live performances of it too. Like I'm hooked now.
Yeah.
Like
And I also really want to be in it. I really want to be in this show.
Dude,
someday.
I know that. And I told them, too, I was like, this other Eddie that you've had for 3 years prior or 4 years prior, 3 years. I was like, where do I find him and where do I subdue him? How do I kill him? So that I can never...
How does he stay silenced?
Yeah, how do I keep him away? And Maggie was like, you're Eddie. You're our Eddie.
That's
like,
so nice.
She's like, and I was like...
What's the name of the character that sings Time Warp?
Oh, Riff Raff.
I want to play Riff Raff.
Yeah, Riff Raff is such a good role.
I want to play Riff Raff. Everybody's going to try to make me play Brad. I want to play Riff Raff.
Yeah, you shouldn't play Brad.
I want Riff Raff so bad.
Elliot should play Brad.
You'd be a good Brad.
I'll play Brad, everybody.
And Lee can be Janet. Or Columbia, or...
Brad is the main guy.
The main guy.
Yeah, the sweet... Yeah, definitely.
You could Brad it up real good.
Yeah, I think that'd be fun. But he was great. Wow.
I know. Everybody. That's the thing.
The whole
it's like
thing, yeah.
They're all so good.
For those listening, this is so idiosyncratic because we are talking about an experience.
An experience
insular.
we had.
Yeah, so if you've stuck with us through this, thank you. But please know it's only coming from a place of mutual love and respect.
I guess
everybody's got their Rocky Horror.
Well, and I guess like if I could translate this to like kind of more of like your speed, those of you that are listening that have not experienced something like this, like musical theater and live performance of some plays or whatever, those, if you've not experienced some form of musical theater, I implore you, try. Just go to some, even like a local production of Cats or like, whatever, Book of Mormon that travels around. Go see some of these shows. There's just this, there's nothing like it.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I used to go to a theater called Theater Winter Haven in Florida, and it shaped who I am as a person more than any other experience, I think, as a kid. And it was doing play after play, year after year, and becoming obsessed with it, and then getting into acting. It's like for sure what led me to here. And I think anybody who has the option should definitely see some kind of play, some kind of theater. I think musical theater for sure, but I also think just straight plays, like getting out into an environment, you're sitting with a bunch of old people, it's super cute, or you go to Rocky Horror and it's a bunch of young people.
Yeah, we've talked about the musical theater experience before. It's my favorite form of entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a better example of human ability and talent than musical theater. The spectacle, the dancing, the singing.
I'd like to see your musical theater and raise you carpentry, Joe. I feel carpentry does that.
Carpentry is a big part of musical theater, so it works.
You're right. You're right. Dang, you're right.
It's amazing. And the different, not even the difference, you go to like a Pantages theater or a big like Broadway play and you see the spectacle of it all, and that's kind of the whole, the bigness of it is kind of what wows you, and then you have the intimacy of the talent on stage and the human interaction and
black
connection.
box theaters.
But then the one we did with Steve was kind of like a little bit different because you're watching a show like on Broadway, but Steve's made you feel like you were part of it because it was so intimate and close. And anyways, love musical theater.
If you guys are also kind of on the fence about because you're like, oh, musical theater can be kind of expensive too, like going to see a Broadway show is kind of expensive. This is not a sponsor, but I have to tell you that there's something I just learned about that I'm like fucking so stoked about. It's called Broadway HD, and it's literally a streaming service for live Broadway shows.
In theaters, right? Or is this at
home?
No,
it's for home.
Cool.
You can watch it on your TV or on your phone or whatever.
That's amazing. That's great.
It's huge.
Smart
it's
move,
huge.
Broadway.
Yeah, huge. Yep. So I'm very excited. But yeah, you can. I mean, again, maybe they could be a sponsor. We could reach out to them or something. But there's like, I don't know. What am I looking at? There's all the Disney stuff. There's Oklahoma, Les Miserables, things like that.
I see my first Broadway show like a week from today or something.
What are you
like that.
going to?
A week from yesterday. I'm going to see Wicked.
cool.
Yeah, I'm
That's
really,
so cool.
My mom
That's a
and
great
my
one,
brother and me, I'm so excited. I'm really so. I've never seen the Broadway show, and I can't wait. I'm going to wear clothes. I'm going to go. I'm going to have a drink.
Get fancy,
I'm
dude.
going to get nice and fancy. I'm going to wear Dockers, a button down, perhaps a cardigan over it, and try to bundle up in that New York cold.
Guys, I just wanted to say, I think we talked quite a bit today, and I just want to thank everybody for listening to today's episode. And we didn't get to a third topic, but it's okay.
We gushed
sometimes
together.
we'll do it. We gushed. We had a good time. How lovely are thy branches. So, guys, thank you so much for listening. And I just want you all to know that we appreciate the patrons who get this podcast first, and they also get the full video version of the podcast, unedited. You peons get it later on the YouTube channel, and it is heavily chopped. It is chopped.
As a special reminder, we have our holiday show on December 16th in New York City, Brooklyn, at the Bell House. It's at 7 p.m., and you can get tickets in the links in the description here. If you're a patron, you heard about it on Saturday, you got a discount. But it's going to be a really good time, so come on by. Lots of stand-up, lots of questions, lots of songs.
Also,
characters, Santa Steve.
If you're around Wednesday evenings, we do Twitch streams on twitch.tv/thevalleyfolk, where we play Jackbox games with you, and we also do games like Mario Party. Sometimes we do watch parties where we watch your show together. And actually, coming up this month and into November, we're going to be giving away game codes, video game codes. The new Assassin's Creed game. We got several copies of that to give away on Xbox and PlayStation 4.
Come hang out.
So if you stick around, maybe you'll win a game. How about that?
I brought my titty pumpkin.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening to the Valleycast.
Please bring your titty pumpkin.
All right. Well, goodbye, everybody. Thank you for listening.
Oops, here comes the train wreck. That's why did that pop? Oh, because this felt like a train wreck.
Yep. All right, goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
And Merry Christmas to you.
But on that note,
Said Merry Christmas, and that's what's the note?
I was just going to say that
it's got
in case you were curious,
it's this pumpkin shit. Two big double D.
What's in my stocking this morning? Ooh yeah, it's titty pumpkin.